Okay. I forgot to do something. Let me go take care of that. There's always one thing I keep forgetting. This mic back on so you guys can hear me. Alrighty then. What happened last time, Di? We finished the chapter. What was the chapter about? Maybe I'll give you a hint. That hint doesn't help you? A gang member getting blamed. Well, you mean a band member? Well, they had a Gavinier concert at the Sunshine Theater, and there was a murder that happened in one of the dressing rooms. Romaine Lettuce. Wait, wrong, wrong. You were thinking about episode 1? Yes, we did finish the chapter yesterday in episode 3. The last one was episode 2. I don't know why I said episode 1. The last one was episode 2. Yes, we finished the chapter, you're correct, which is the first chapter in episode 3. Yes. We were in the Sunshine Theater where the Gaviniers were having a concert. Romaine Lettuce was murdered. And they laid out the crime scene in the style of a song. Machi Tobey is our suspect. I don't know. I don't know. But that's where we're going to be starting the trial, Machi Tobey's trial. July 9th, 10 o'clock a.m., District Courtroom, courtroom number 3. So they're just going to start us right in the courtroom because we can't talk to Machi Tobey. Court is now in session for... Why do I say that? Machi Tobey, Your Honor, depicts the of the arpeggio. Right, his trial. Court is in session. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is A-OK, Our Judge. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. My opening statement, huh? No, actually. There was something else I wanted to ask you about. Yes? Say, you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them? Eh? I mean, you wouldn't say get well soon, right? You'd only be kicking them when they're down. What are you talking about? Actually, I'm going to visit someone who is terminally ill. Right after this trial, the Chief Justice's son. The Chief Justice? His son is afflicted with the most terrible disease. He doesn't have long, it seems. One way to open up a trial, don't you think, Di? So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day. Why don't grown-ups ever just say what's on their mind instead of pretending? He was looking at me with something like, what are you looking at me like that for? In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement briefly. You're in luck, Our Judge. I believe you'll be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think. First, to review the victim in this case. Romain Letou, age 35. The global manager for Diva Songstress Lemuroir. Cause of death, blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details. Court accepts this into evidence, which we did not get in the investigation. Letou's autopsy report added to the court record. 45 caliber. That's quite large, isn't it? A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet, which in a sense did. However, the bullet struck him in his shoulder. The damage to his body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved. I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering. Crime scene photo added to the court record. 2 shots were fired. 1 shot missed, and the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Which we've learned that how he phrased that is backwards. He was shot in the shoulder first, and then the second shot was fired afterwards. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullets hit. Okay, that's correct. We know one is lower than the other one. So the one that was lower was the bullet that exited out of Letou's body. The higher one was the signal fire, you might want to call it, just to get like a witness. The court accepts this diagram added to the court record. If we're talking about a 45 caliber revolver, we must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use. Actually, No, we can't assume. Really? Yeah, apparently, weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body. The defense will take more care in choosing examples. Well, how else was he supposed to put it? As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in his dressing room. His dressing room has only one entrance, this door. It looks kind of confusing because we're looking at the room from its side perspective. And then when you see it in the hallway, you see the doorways. So it is kind of confusing that we're looking at the room from its side perspective and not in a room where we just entered. Which I'm kind of hoping that Ace Attorney 7 is a lot better with this so it doesn't confuse our brains. Because even with the 3DS, you can manipulate the camera, but we're also focused on a perspective as well. This is why I think that if they do Ace Attorney 7, it has more of this environmental feel. We get a little bit of this perspective as well, but also have the investigation games perspectives as well, so we can actually move in the scenery that we're in and get to explore the scenery a bit more. That does seem to be the case, yes. Darno, what are you playing with? However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshot. He's talking about you and Emma, huh? Yet, when the witnesses entered the room, it was empty. Save for the victim's body, of course. But that's impossible! Exactly! This murder was impossible. For all but one person. One person? That is, of course, the defendant, Machi Tobey. I still have a hard time believing that a 14-year-old could fire a .45 caliber revolver. Especially when the revolver's kickback could kill him himself. Only this defendant could have committed the crime. But how? It's quite simple. In circumstances, the crime scene makes it clear. Very well. I assume you have testimony to back up this claim. Please show the witness to the stand. Your name and profession, please. Emma Sky. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert forum that night. Emma seemed tired somehow. Security at the concert, you say? Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a murder. No, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I mean, I've made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know. I'm sure that makes her feel much better. I wanted to hear about those bigger mistakes. In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime was quickly discovered. And we were able to identify the killer. He doesn't seem very convinced. You may give the court your testimony, if you would. Describe the circumstances of the day and your discovery of the crime, please. Alright. murderous circumstances. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard gunshots. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it. Is this the truth? Now, you remember, I don't have a guide with me right now. You can ask Andy for help anytime you want. It was lucky that a detective was the first on the scene. But that door was the only way out of the room, right? Yeah, pretty much. Then I don't get it. How can they say that Machi did it? Looks like we need a bit more information. Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination. The night of the murder was the night of the concert, right? Yes, that's correct. What was the detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert. My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods. Prosecutor Gavin. Yes? Allow me to explain. I smelled something that day. You might say the stench of conspiracy. That day at the concert hall. Conspiracy? Well, isn't it obvious? My key. That whole morning. No, the whole day was ruined. And it's all because someone stole my key. I couldn't ride my hog to the show. I couldn't open my guitar case. There he goes again. Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just wander into a murder victim's hand on their own. What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect. Wow. Love. Slow acting. I knew. Actual quinine is waiting for you. He's singing something. Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top? The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor, adrift on a sea of sound. Anyways, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task. I see. I can accept that. Well, I can't. Why do you... Please, the testimony? We were let in, though. I didn't know about that. I certainly didn't invite you. I gave the Freon special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again. Oh boy. Did you hear that? We're officially involved now. Gee, great. Some other hangers-on tried to get backstage, but I drove them off. So no other outsiders were there then? And then I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots. You were the one chatting. I was eating snackos. Oh, hey, no snacking in court. And you're sure the shots came from Limmer's room? Yes, absolutely. Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here. This'll keep you quiet. Ah, thanks. So much. So, how about Emma? We were right. They're hard to be mistaken about that. Please, either talk or eat. Not both at the same time. Sounds like something Di would do, right? Eat and talk at the same time. Right, so after that, me and Mr. Lawyer there opened the dressing room door. Rock? Blaring, yes. When you say rock, are you referring perhaps to this rock and roll music that's so popular these days? Unfortunately, we're in a decade where rock and roll music is not as popular as it once was. It's slowly dying. People as in pop music and heavy metal. I really would like to have rock and roll come back. That's right. When we went into the dressing room, music was blaring over the speaker on the wall. They piped sound from the stage into the backstage through speakers. That way people in the back can hear when they're supposed to be on stage. Did it have to be so loud? You don't listen to the Gavineers with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. Well, I still have to listen to it with my ears. So my ears are going to end up hearing it first. I always have the backstage monitor at full volume, which is not good for the equipment. When we walked into the room, the band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the time of the crime. If you could hear the music playing, then everyone on stage for that song has an alibi, including myself. Anyways, I closed off the scene and started my investigation. How could you know something like that? As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know there were only one exit from the room, that door. The small window only opened a tiny crack. And I was standing in front of that door. So how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility, the air vent. Oh. Objection! But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly? Exactly. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child. A child? Remember, access to those rooms were limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed. And of all the people involved with the concert, only one is small enough to be considered a child. The defendant, the pixie of the arpeggio, filtered up towards the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. Objection! But that's just conjecture. Oh? There was no other way out of that room. You were there. You should know her forehead. And there's another vital piece of evidence. Evidence? What? Marks were found on the air vent grill. Traces that it had recently been opened. Wait, what? And something else was found quite clearly. The defendant, Machitobe's fingerprint. What? What? Order! That air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, her forehead, what fairy tale does this suggest to you? Definitely not the fairy sitting next to me. Only one could pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven, and that one is our pixie. Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it up in the audience. So this was his decisive evidence. Quite decisive indeed. I believe that's enough of that. The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive. I believe we heard enough to determine our verdict. Even if it wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit, I'm sure the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. That will have to be enough. It can't be over already. Very well, I believe this trial is finished. If the defense has no contradicting evidence, the prosecution has presented our proof clear and plain. If you have contradicting evidence, it better be clear and plain. Heck, Apollo, they've got us on the ropes already. We'd better come up with something quick. I know. Think. What can get us out of this? We need evidence or witness that can prove Machi is innocent beyond a doubt. Without that, Mr. Justice, do you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you better tell us about it. This is it. And so on. So soon. If I mess this up, it's all over. The court wants contradicting proof. You want to call a witness. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim that there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely. I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor. and on my million-seller hit song, Atroquinine My Love. There he goes again. That's too bad, because there was a witness. Oh, really now? But how did you come to possess knowledge the prosecution clearly does not? Because I'm the one in the world who knows this. What's going on? I just talked to him and now... He's alive. Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? You're cold? Don't worry. You're going to be fine. Help is on the way. Hang in there, Mr. Latouche. Tell me, who was the winner? What? The victim said this before he died? Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is what her forehead says he said. It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. Objection! But it's the truth. He said it. I even told you about it. But apparently you ignore me completely. It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours, unknown to the prosecution. I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty. Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for. There's no backing out now. Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice. That's it. Take that! Lemur? Recall Mr. Latouche's last words. The siren. Aha! He meant the siren! That's right, the siren of ballad. Lemur. Lemur was only on stage for the second set, and she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness. I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, my claim still stands. There was no witness to this crime. Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We will now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show Lemur to the witness stand. Lemur would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today, we'll drag the story out of her no matter what it is. It is my distinct honor to welcome the siren of the ballad to our courtroom. You are too kind. Oh, you can speak English? Yes. Yes, I can. So, I am not very good. There is much I do not know. You speak so well. You spent time here before? Actually, I do not know how I came by my knowledge of your language. nor where I studied it. What does she mean? Doesn't know. I too thought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course. What's that? Lemuroy suffers from amnesia. Amnesia? Lemuroy, not my true name. I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. Whoa. She's even more mysterious than I thought. As looted singer, Lemuroy, he lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her, thanks to her success. Yet, I do not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress. I see. I care surprisingly little about people's past. You have nothing to fear in this court, Lemuroy. Thanks. Yet there is something I do not understand. I am being called as a witness. What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened. Lemuroy, let me be frank. I did not want to ask you up here to testify. Yet that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant that you stand. Oh my. Congratulations, Apollo. You're the bad guy. I think a little light on my face would probably be easier to see my facial expression. Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw the night of the crime. What I saw. As for what I saw nothing. At night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. That was where I learned that something had happened. But I wasn't told the details. I must say, you sound wonderful just testifying. I hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying. There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now, we can only pray that the defense has a sense to admit defeat and refrain from detaining her here longer than need be. Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go! Grrr. Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet. Lemuroy wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what. But you must have seen something. Mr. Latouche named you. Mr. Latouche? How can I tell you what I don't know? Lemuroy. He said you were a witness with his dying words. I do not know what he meant to say, but that night It was a great concert. You heard me sing? Thank you. I was hoping to get an autograph later, actually. Of course. Mr. Justice, this is a cross-examination. You're out of line. If anyone deserves an autograph here, it's me. One on my gavel would be nice. Judge. What's this? It's my autograph. Now keep this trial moving. What? Oh, my grandchild will be so happy. Apparently his grandson is a big fan. Let us continue, shall we? If you would, Lemure. Tell us what you did after your stellar performance. You did not return backstage once? Where were you then? What were you doing? I was cleaning up on stage. There are many things I must do for a performance other than simply sing. And was Machi with you at the time? Unfortunately, I do not know where he was. So much for an alibi for Machi. Was Machi correct? How was he then? He seemed as he always does, so I believe he was shocked by the news of Mr. Lutus's death. Yet, he is not the type to show much emotion. Yes, he's given the police no end of headache. He answers most questions with silence, and those glinting frames speak nothing. The questioning hasn't gotten very far. He sat there waiting. How was the incident explained to you? I was told nothing in detail, only that Mr. Lutus died. Of course, investigations require some security. But Mr. Lutus was my manager. I wanted to know more. I should have been told. Both Machi and I were beside ourselves with concern. Hey, Phoenix. Allow me to apologize, but please understand. Keeping you in the dark was as painful for me as it was for you. Yes, I understand. What doesn't ring true about her testimony? It's hard to imagine Lemure lying. She might not be lying, but she's hiding something. What wouldn't she tell me the night of the murder? All right. Next. While she was told, nobody gave her details, she did not know Mr. Latouche was murdered. I have a feeling this might be the statement. You might be correct. Because we do have a piece of evidence that could explain why she was backstage. But then the details is going to be really fuzzy. The brooch was indeed found in her dressing room, and it was attached to her. Objection! I'm sorry, Lemuror, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not? Why, that's Lemuror's. She was wearing it for her song. Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin? What? This brooch was found after the murder took place. At the very scene of the crime. What? Lemuror? How did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And as Prosecutor Gavin has just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night. What is the meaning of it? Lemuror, please explain. Lemuror? He says English is quite difficult. Javier. Knows Virginian. That trick's not going to work here. Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer truly. But you have missed one important fact. What now? In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment. What? Think back to the moment of the crime. You know, whereof I speak. Is he really saying all that? What's she talking about, Apollo? Right when the incident occurred. Oh! Is she talking about that? Watch this room for me. I have to call for backup. Right, understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Cold. So cold. Witness. The cold? Don't worry. You're going to be fine. Help is on the way. Witness. Siren? How can a siren witness anything? Yeah, Emma. Who's that? Who's there? What's wrong? Emma, did you see anyone just now? Huh? No. I could have sworn I heard a door close. I in the room. Just a glance, mind you. So this is when your brooch dropped? That explains that. It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it. Actually, that's a lie. But that's ridiculous. You only looked in for an instant, but you dropped your brooch? Her forehead. She's raised the possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence. So she looked in at the crime scene. Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice. Her forehead shouting, "Who's there?" No doubt. A horrible voice indeed. I closed the door immediately. Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony. That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Lemuroy, you did look into the room though, right? Yes. Testify as to what you saw. Very well. There was only the briefest of glimpses. When my performance was finished, I went backstage for just a moment. What did you see in the brief glimpse? I had only opened the door slightly when I heard the horrible voice. And shut the door? I've always wondered, her forehead. Does that voice of yours lack a volume knob? It's my cords of steel, man! Just back off! I saw nothing. The late Mr. Toose's body was behind a wall.
Hold it!
A wall? Was there a wall there? Is what in English? A division or partition, I believe. It was a large dressing room divided into two halves. And the murder took place in the inside half? I guess that partition might have hidden the body. Alright, you've already pressed this statement. We don't have to press this again. But you do see something above her head, right? Let's see. What are we looking for? Want to hear that again? Tell me what you saw. Try it again. Did you see it? Did you see it? I can do it again if you want.
Gotcha!
You may have seen the world, but I've seen your heart. You were flustered during your testimony just now. I don't understand what it is you're saying. Perhaps this is a joke in your culture? He doesn't seem very flustered to me, Apollo. Maybe I got the wrong one. I have to look harder. I'll find the weak spot. But she was not speaking in that area. Let's try that one. Let's look at this one. Okay, there was nothing there. Nothing else in this statement. So this one doesn't work. Doesn't move her lips on that statement.
Gotcha!
The late Mr. Latusse's body, you say? Yes. You know something more about Mr. Latusse's death than you are saying. What? I could see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes. I missed the swallow, but I perceived where she wasn't talking. It is true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? One moment, Lemur. Yes? What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? Yes? He was hiding something, I knew it. Lemur, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradicted your testimony. Eh? How could that be? Take this. Lemur has contradicted her own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it. That's it. If you aren't sure, you can ask Andy. I'm not sure the lyric sheet's going to contradict her testimony, because she didn't say anything that reflects the lyric sheet. See, he's going by the statement. That she said that why was Mr. Latouche shot? That was what she said, which contradicts her complete testimony, saying that she never saw him, which she had a reason why she couldn't see the body. There's a partition that separates their dressing room from the left and right side. So how was she able to see Mr. Latouche being shot? That's basically what he's trying to say. And what evidence is going to prove is contradicting her testimony? Flip the A and the I and you will have that spelled correctly. I believe the diagram is going to work. If I do not misunderstand the meaning of contradiction, is it you who contradict justice? Huh? Your evidence is meaningless. Wrong evidence. Well, that evidence is wrong. Gotta think this over. What did she say again? Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? That's right. That totally contradicts her testimony. Take this. Limerose contradicted her own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it. Now that we know that the diagram don't work, what is going to work? Well, we're trying to establish. I think we haven't even established her at the crime yet. That's what we're trying to prove. No, that's what she said. Victim shot in shoulder in Lemuro's room. I'm not entirely sure if the photograph is going to help. It would have to be on page 1. If nothing on page 2 is going to help. And remember, Andy's the only one that has access to the guide at the moment. Postcard. Postcard is not going to help you. I don't see anything on the postcard that's going to help. You want to be on camera? There's nothing in the lyric sheet that's going to help. Guy's asking, are you sure it's not the lyrics? You mean the investigation request?
Take that!
That's... Tell me, Lemur. How did you know that he had been shot? Yeah. Well, Immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is a document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court, no one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Well, she didn't exactly see. She's correct on that. Yet you knew that Mr. Latouche had been shot. How could you have known? Yeah. You wanna come here? Come here. Liverore! You weren't hiding something from this court, I hope. That sweet song of hers was sounding a little too sweet. Now I remember. Please, allow me to add in my testimony. Of course. All we want to know is the truth. He looks kind of pale, huh? He saw something, I know it. Even the victim said so. I saw bullet holes in the wall and knew Mr. Latouche had been shot. This is the only new statement, Di.
Hold it!
Only a glimpse? Yet you knew they were bullet holes? Yes, I recognized them immediately. I have seen bullet holes before, you know. You have traveled the world as a singer. Must have sung in places far more dangerous than our country. I go wherever my voice is needed. The places are many these days. That's really cool. I hope I get to travel like Lemuel someday. I plan on recording my next album overseas. Their studios have a different sound, you know. Maybe I should go on a Chord to Steel tour too. Record the steel tour. Alright, so this is our new evidence, or new piece of testimony. Come here. Come here, you. Come here. 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 Come on. Come here. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Say hi to the chat. Say hi to the chat. Somebody said hi to you. Somebody said hi to you. Alright. Now we get to pick a piece of evidence. I know how you can stay on camera. Go up there. Go up there. You can go up there. You can go up there. Come on. Come on. No? You sure? You'll stay on camera. Go ahead, lay down. Go ahead, lay down. Go ahead, lay down. No? No? Okay. She's going back to the coffee table.
Objection!
Lemur, they call you the siren of the valley, but lies are hardly becoming of such a creature. A put down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice. Such put downs are hardly becoming of you, Apollo. Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your characters, huh? Come on, can I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. Lemur, you looked in from the door for just a moment. Correct? Yes, that is so. There were bullet holes in the room, yes? But they were in the wall. The door is on. Eh? You see, assuming you merely glanced into the room, you could not have seen those bullets. Yeah! Lemur. Yeah? I'm afraid the defense raises a good point. It appears you have been holding back something. I must tell you what it is that I saw? Yes. The happenings in this trial are being recorded, and I'm certain it will be on the news in Virginia. You understand your reputation is at stake. It falls to you to avoid tarnishing it. Personally speaking, I still believe this cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing. But she knew how Mr. Latouche died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, Lemuel. Very well. Lemuel, please continue your testimony. Very well, I shall. So we finally get new testimony. What I saw too. I was on my way from the backstage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was. So you did witness the crime? And the killer was a grown person, you say? This is the first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice player, Fred. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin your cross-examination. Clavier is growing on the judge. Get going, Apollo. You were right about Lemuel. What's wrong? You don't look too happy. This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. So, you were heading towards the dressing room? Yes. So this is a little before she opened the dressing room door and dropped her brooch. About the same time Emma and I heard those shots. I was on my way back. What exactly is something like a little window? Yeah. Window is the best word I know in English. I think this is how it is said, yes? You need not worry, Lemuel. Your choice of words is impeccable. There is a small window in the dressing room in question. Perhaps the defense remembers this detail. A little window on the wall. I saw the crime from there.
Hold it!
You are certain you heard 2 shots fired? Yes, quite certain. I was on my way to the backstage exit. This was when I heard a faint sound, like a gunshot. Wondering what it had been, I peered through the window. That is when I heard the second shot, much closer. And there were 2 bullet holes at the scene. No contradiction so far. It all happened on the other side of that window. There was nothing I could do.
Hold it!
It wasn't Machi who shot. Are you sure? Yes, quite certain. It amuses me that you would question her testimony. It is testimony in your favor. Isn't it my job to object? Yeah, Paul, what were you thinking? Let's just listen to what Lemuel has to say. Can you tell me how you were so sure? Yes, of course.
Hold it!
A grown person? That's a little vague. I am sorry. My skill with your language is lacking. Personally, you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female. It was a man. A young man. And you're sure of that? Yes, his voice was quite clear. Voice? Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter. As a singer, I rely more on my ears and eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man. You heard a voice, but wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche? Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known. Indeed. So you were at the window and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man. Apollo, this is good testimony. That proves it wasn't Machi. Indeed. This turns out to be true. It would cast this case in a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony? Do we go as pretty good, or is it contradictory? Because yes, this testimony is in our favor. This makes us look good. But is it contradictory? Is there a piece of evidence that proves that this testimony doesn't make sense? That's the question. Is it good or is it contradictory? Do you know? By reading those statements, does it sound good to you? Or do you feel like that there's something wrong in that testimony? You think it's contradictory. So it pains me to say this. There's something about Lemuel's testimony that rings false. Bravo, our forehead. You're cooler than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man could pass through that air vent. He couldn't have fled the scene of the crime. But that means Lemuel has to be lying. I know, and I know it's bad for a case, but I can't shut my eye to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. If it is as her forehead says. Yet, this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. What next? What's he talking about? Lemuel, I understand why you would want to protect Machi. Yeah, remember, you are the siren of balance, and lies do not become such a creature. What does the prosecution mean? Apollo, what's he talking about? How come no one bats an eye when he says stuff like that? I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. The state of the room? Yes, and when the murder took place, that window was closed. I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through it. What? But I'm sure. Lemur, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. But my opinion of you as a witness is somewhat less.
Objection!
But she's the only eyewitness we have.
Objection!
So you say. And the victim named her the siren as a witness? That's right. That's what Mr. Latouche, we heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility. And it brought us to this. Or judge. Yes? Prosecution requests that the witness be excused. Please. I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of the witness' credibility. But if Lemur can't testify, then we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocent. This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue with your case. Thank you. Now where were we? Yes. I would like to hear from Furlong Detective again.
Objection!
Wait! Let me hear Lemur's testimony one last time. The cross-examination's already over. Until such a time as a need arises. This witness may leave the stand. I'm sorry I could not be of more assistance. At last, back to the real trial. Ready here, forehead? I hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Lord, detective, how far had we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted? Don't ask me. I just like saying the same thing twice. And I never repeat a song for an encore. If you would, Miss Guy. I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latouche's killer could have escaped was through the air vent on the ceiling. Oh yes, there was only one door in that room. The witness, you were standing in front of it. The air vent isn't very big, see? It kind of limits the people who could possibly get through. I certainly would have a difficult time. You sure would. Not that you would have been there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved with the concert. The only one who meets the condition for our killer is the defendant. A virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself. So she does stay a clear case. Though reading the report, something caught my eye. Oh? What's that? The circumstance of the defendant's arrest. Circumstances? Again? Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Machi? That was bizarre. She's right. Why did Mr. Latouche's body disappear from the room and end up on top of the stage tower, holding a guitar, no less? A perceptive observation, Air Judge. Thanks. It was kind of an accident, really. But you work in this job long enough, you get a nose for things. The judge sure seems pleased with himself. Very good, fellow detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer? The missing body. I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match Lemur's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim, and Machi practically left his signature at the scene. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant. Lemur's song? Yes, the guitar's serenade. You notice it's code 2? Did you not? It's code. All the events that day followed the lyrics to her song. First, the keys my heart held on to so tightly were stolen. Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Latusse's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, guitar. Up together to the sky. That's mad. It's like a story out of some fairy tale. Yeah, one lyric is missing. One verse is missing out of the whole thing. I admit, I'd forgotten about the song. But there it is now, waiting for me. The grand finale, as it were. Hey, you know I was the one who first noticed it. Hold on a sec. There we go. I've heard of jumping rope to song and counting to songs, but killing? It's a wild world out there, Judge. Very well. We've heard one song and dance. Let's get on to the next. The cross-examination. I'm not so sure I'm going to be doing much singing. Who would steal a body just to match some lyrics? I didn't believe it myself, but it can't just be a coincidence. If this forlorn detective says, let's begin with the first verse, if you would, forlorn detective. What? You want me to sing it? You're the witness, huh? Or did you want me to sing? I warn you, my fee as vocalist is not trivial. Fine. Let's look at the first part of the song, shall we? When you stole away the keys, my heart held on to so tight. Indeed, my favorite heart-shaped key ring was stolen that morning. Next, we go to the right page of the lyrics, where we find burning on in my heart fire. Burn my love away, all away. As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames. Like a bullet of love, fire taking my life away, all away. Mr. Latusse's life was taken by a bullet. Bravo, Milan Detective. You're singing? Not bad. Now for the finale. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. As it says in the lyrics, Mr. Latouche was found with a guitar high in the sky over the state. No series of contradictions could be so well conceived. He's right, scientifically speaking. What would Walkie have said? That concert was whack! It's hard to argue when she pours her heart into it like that. Anyways, the shooter. Does the prosecution have any idea why he'd do all this? You want my scientific opinion? No clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble. Some deep reason. Deep reason? Not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts even if he had a reason. And worse, if he had none. The diva's complaints aside, I can't imagine someone doing this on just a whim. Come on, detective. Indeed, it does seem too well rehearsed, shall we say? Yes, this crime was planned for sure. Fear no evil. Fear no.
Hold it!
But Mr. Latouche spoke English. He may have come to this country before. I looked into that, I assure you. Oh? It was his first time in this country, it seems. Apparently, he learned English on his own. Great. You see? No one here had a motive to kill him. And certainly not in such an elaborate fashion. It does seem difficult to imagine. Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt. Ooh, what did you say? Prosecutor Gavin, you did this to promote your song? Of course not. And I'm quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of her claim. Why would I need promotion? Everyone already listens to my music. They're even in my textbook in school. And I had never heard of them. What does that say about me? You know, I remember a song featured in one of my textbooks. It was actually I can't remember the song offhand, but I think it was what were we doing? I think it was it was kind of like a health class, but we were discussing social behavior, something like that. And they mentioned a song that related to social behavior. I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy. What do you mean by his signature? The bullet holes in the wall, of course. The bullet holes? The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall. And that means, what does that mean? That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would be difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range. Difficult to miss, you say? Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim. No! You can't be serious! Machi! He can't see! That's why he missed? It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly. And I still believe a 14-year-old boy trying to shoot a .45 caliber revolver, I think the kickback itself could potentially risk his life. So that's why I say this, that it was impossible for Machi to even fire that gun. That reminds me, the monitor in that room was blaring at the time, yeah? Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound. A blind shooter. No wonder he missed. I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice. What do I do now? Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall, but that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see. Oh? So. Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim. That's certainly possible. And might have been the revolver's fault. Revolver? The revolver was a very large caliber, correct? If the shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon, why, it could dislocate their shoulder. And as a 14-year-old child, it could have possibly killed him. Exactly. The defendant Machi Tobey is, as you can see, tiny. It's not so hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw off his aim. A convincing argument, to be sure. Haha. Take that, smug prosecution. Apollo? Huh? What? That bit about Machi being tiny and the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it? Oh. It does not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was without a doubt the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point. Oh. Right. I really put my foot in it this time. But let's get the facts of the matter on the record. If you would, Felon Detective. Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony. Right. From the state of the crime scene, I conclude the shooter was blind. As I stated, there's a possibility that the first shot was a signal shot. You can't say he was blind just because of those bullet holes in the wall. I think I've proven that. I wouldn't call it proof per se. Huh? You've merely raised the possibility. The lone detective has made almost logical conjecture based upon the evidence. Of course, there's more evidence than just bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vent.
Objection!
But wait, if he was blind, how would he know about the air vent in the first place? Ah, a very good point. Well, Falun Detective, you would care to explain. Currently seems sure of himself. Recall the crime scene, if you would. There was a step ladder below the air vent. As it happened, maintenance was scheduled for that day. Custodial staff went around checking all the air vents. I don't believe it. Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Machito Bay. You would have known that there would be a way out at the top of the step ladder. But why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? Well, let's explain it. What could be a reason why they would check the air vents? Di, can you answer that question? Why would they check the air vent? Most likely, if the air vents were being used, they would have to check to see if it was safe for them to be used. That's why. Now, in this apartment, we have ducts underneath the floor for the heaters. Periodically, they have to be checked. I can't run the heater if there's a blockage in the vent. Then we'll end up having a house fire. You could have figured it out for yourself. You only needed to consider what that stepladder was doing there. Looks like the defense's objection has been squished by a stepladder. Well, forehead? Out of ammunition, perhaps? Never seen Prosecutor Gavin so aggressive. Maybe he's caught the scent of blood. Apollo, don't you have something? Anything? You know what we need? We need something to prove the killer could see. That'll put him in his place. Proving the shooter was sighted would do it. That would take down one of their central points. Do I have any evidence that can prove that, though? Are you sure? Are you sure we don't have any evidence? Or are you sure that we don't need the evidence? You want to ask Andy? No need? You think there's no need? Trying to prove if the shooter was sighted. Yes. Fine. I accept the prosecution's challenge. As I knew you would, Earthhead. What exactly am I up against here? The prosecution is saying the shooter missed because they couldn't see. Therefore, Machi, who's blind, did it. The defense will please present their evidence. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see. How would the bullet holes prove it? Because Emma Sky says the bullet holes proves that the person was blind. You're gonna say diagram?
Take that!
I'm not sure that overturns anything, Mr. Justice. Wrong evidence, I'm guessing. Apparently both Love and Justice are blind. I had to think. There must be something, anything. This doesn't look so good, does it, Apollo? No, it doesn't. What do we do? First, we don't panic. Even though Machi's case is leaking water by the gallon. Gavin's on a roll, and it's up to me to stop him. So, that wasn't...
Hold it! Objection! Take that!
This is that evidence. Did you see what I picked, Di? The photograph of the crime scene? I don't care much of the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face, but this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There is something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point. Then perhaps you'd best show us this something. Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, huh? Very well. Show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction at the scene of the crime. Do you see it, Di? We need to find something in this photo that proves that the shooter could see. contradiction's right here. The smeared blood stain? I thought it was just my blurry vision, but it really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head, much like a gesture I have seen many times in this course. It's also as if he wrote something. Aha! I get it. At least I think I get it. Get what, Flan? When Mr. Latouche was shot, he tried to write something. And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write in it but his own blood? Pretty good, huh? Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here. There does seem to be a distinct possibility. The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion. Fact. I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that. Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind. Neither would I. No one has anything else to say? They've totally forgotten the point of why they were showing that part of the blood. About what? So the prosecution accepts this? You agree that this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer? And that the killer tried to rub the name out? What's your point? What's my point? They totally forgot. Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name? Well, Mr. Latouche was writing something in blood. Once the killer saw it, it was... Wait. That light bulb finally lit up, didn't it, Di? Once he saw what it was? But what did you just testify about the shooter? I said they were blind. Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind the court that the defendant Machi Tobey is blind. He couldn't have been the shooter. Impossible! Order! The prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what all this means. He should be sweating bullets by now, because this damages his case. I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter could see. Yet up until now, it seems I owe the court an apology. The Gavineers are a band with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred during our concert. Apparently, this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here. Hey Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? Like he knows something we don't. And he's about to tell us. I've got an idea. Let's rock! With these documents. But before that, I have a question for the film detective. If I may. Why? Tell me. Why do you think Machi Tobey is blind? Huh? What did he say? What are you saying? Of course he's blind. Of course? He's the blind pianist, right? So he's doesn't lead him around by the hand all the time? No way. I have a report here on the defendant Machi Tobey. According to this, Machitobe can see perfectly well. What? His blindness was merely a publicity ploy by those clever Borginians. He can see quite well.
Objection!
What you said. What did I say exactly? A forehead? Not once in this court of this trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was the blind detective. But that's a significant fact, yes? Consider Machitobe sees. And he was the only one who could have fled through the air vent. I see no problem with this. But what about the bullet holes in the wall? Yes, the bullet holes. I believe our forehead neatly explained those for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was a kickback from the .45 caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words. How's that? I'm afraid your objection has just flown off for brighter skies. This is where the real fun begins, her forehead. Yeah! Duck lips. I knew you didn't have what it took. You jerk! Just what was I in here for? Comic relief? Yeah, apologize! Oh, sorry. That's no way to apologize! He's angered the Trucy now, look out! If we can please end the bickering? No? Whatever, I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solving this case if it kills me. But your testimony has already given us enough to convict the defendant. Don't say that! Aha! What? This blood stain. The criminal tried to wipe it off, right? That seems to be what happened, yes. We might be able to find out what was really written here. Really? You can do that? That's right. With this. It's called luminol. Maybe you know of it? It's a chemical that reacts to blood. Oh yes. Have we done those tests yet? Ah. As if I'm going to tell you. The bloodstains covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood tests, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request it here in court now. Right. Go for it, Apollo. Huh? I have to do the test? You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple. A chemical that reacts to blood. I've heard of this somewhere. Yes, I believe an analysis is called for. Have at it. Usually the judge is calling for the bailiff to get it tested. Now we're doing live test in court. Right, ready? It's easy as pie. Just press A to spray an area. Here, give it a try. The eyes of the entire court are focused on me. Apollo, your hand's shaking. Let's do this. Di, you want to try it? You want it? You want to do it? Wow, it really worked. So we have IP YX314206. This must be the power of science. It says IPXX314206, so that was just another X, but it looks like a Y. So IPXX314206. Is that the killer's name? Maybe it is. Aha, I have it. So what is it? I thought those letters IPXX looked familiar. This is Interpol ID number. Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency? Yeah. Most are undercover agents working to solve international crime. Why would he write that number? Why would Mr. Latouche even know a number like that? Unless Mr. Latouche was an Interpol agent. Good shuffle on, Detective. Rock on. Eh? Gunner, we can verify this number immediately. Jerry, are you here? Come up to the witness stand. Jerry, you heard what we need. Go check into Interpol ID number. Sure thing. Give me 30 minutes now. Give me 27. I'm not sure what to think of all this. Prosecution's case is airtight, or so it seems. Yet if this number is really that of an Interpol agent... Oh, wait. I know. What if Machi Tobey is really an undercover Interpol agent? He's 14 years old. That's not the case. That would be a possibility. A possibility, yes. The one that would mark him as the killer for certain. Why did Mr. Latouche know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know. Well, we have some time while we await. There is the part. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? A curious mystery concerning Machi Tobey. What are you talking about? Lone Detective, please accept my apology. I received word that the defendant could, in fact, see just before the trial began. It seems too much of a bother to tell you. You had me until the last bet. Does this not raise a rather straightforward question? Well, sure. Why did Machi pretend he couldn't see? Exactly. It makes little sense. Why do you think, Earth Forehead? Huh? Machi Tobey pretended he was blind. Do you know why? How could he know? Wait, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he? He knows from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on this whole time. Something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is all some kind of game? No, that's the moment I heard the report. I knew why. I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else. What does that have to do with anything? There was a reason why Machi Tobey pretended to be blind, but it wasn't for his own sake. Getting the picture now? Wasn't for himself? Oh, Mr. Justice? Can you present evidence that shows us why the defendant had to foreign blindness? Actually, we kind of do. Machi had no reason to pretend he couldn't see, which means no, it couldn't be. Good show, Earth Forehead. It seems you thought of something. Why can't I figure these things out on my own? I hate having to take my cues from this guy. Very well. Look at this. This is why he was pretending he couldn't see. Think about who else was maybe impaired, has impaired vision? So these evidence on the page 2 is not going to help you, so it's definitely going to be on page 1. So I eliminated 3 for you. Still can't figure it out, Di?
Take that!
That is Lemurior. Lemurior and Machi Tobey. Recall their relationship. In particular, their unique arrangement over the years before visiting our country. Lemurior and her pianist, they would always walk together, leading him by the hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. She would walk all the way over there with him. That's right, because he was blind. She led him at all times, never letting him go. All times? Yeah, we have just learned something that makes their arrangement peculiar instead. Machi could see. Why did they have to keep up this act the whole time? Well, wasn't it part of their performance? I think there's a simpler explanation. Machi did not need to be led by the hand at all. That can only mean one thing. Really? Really? It was all the other way around. The one who needed to be led by the hand was Lemurior. What's this? So you mean to say that Lemurior is... Yes, Your Honor. Lemurior is blind. But what? Order! This is crazy. Prosecutor Gavin. Well, she's known as the Siren. In most stories, when you hear about the Siren, which another name could be instituted by them is soothsayer. Yeah, if you're familiar with Shakespeare, soothsayer was a very common term, which they also go under siren. They're mostly blind. They could foresee the future. Is it no? Please shed some sanity on this madness. The defense has made an outrageous claim. The only thing outrageous I see about the defense is his vast forehead. Yet I see it is not vast in vain this time. He's quite correct. But that makes no sense. Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in sound or something? Sound. Not sight. Sound. Well, since we have her here, why not ask Lemura herself? I believe she is still in the witness waiting. Apollo, what does this mean for our case? Don't ask me. I had no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now. Bayla, bring in Lemure. Lemure, pains me deeply to call you before us again in play. Yet I must. Please, do not be concerned on my behalf. Lies. You really can't see? Really? It is true. How funny it is that a tiny lie born in Virginia's countryside would one day grow to entangle the entire world. So are you, yes, I mentioned before, have no memory of the time before I became Lemure. Know, too, that my memories began in the darkness. The word light has no meaning for Lemure. I see. You may recall me saying something towards the beginning of this trial or forehead. What's that? I believe I said it was unfortunate this crime had no direct witness. Ah, now Lemure, I must ask you to stand once more. You testify to the court about your eyes. Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor? Oh, yes, of course. I admit, I'm a little lost here. I think we're all a bit lost here, Your Honor. Lemure's eyes. I have no memory of the light. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. My producers came up with my PR line before he knew this. So, silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no other. But this is a murder trial. I apologize. It was part of my contract. It was to keep my blindness a secret no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would. She told us the truth in the beginning. When she said she saw nothing, very well. Does the defense have anything to add? I'd like to cross-examine. But what is there left to ask? There's one thing in her testimony that bothered me. That's just best we let you get it out of your system. Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking for yourself. Very well. The defense may proceed. However, be aware this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful to the witness. Okay. There was only one part that bothered me. Just let me ask about that and I'll be happy. I wonder if that makes you a little nervous, Di. So, you don't know why you went blind? I do not. I may have been born this way, in fact. It's foolish to attempt to pry into her past. Must add, it's a delicate subject. I'm not sure we can reasonably expect Mr. Justice to do anything delicately. Hey! Why I oughta take a deep breath and calm down? What am I now is all that I have. It is enough. Weren't you nervous to hit the stage in your condition? No, not at all, surprisingly. It felt natural singing in front of everyone. It's not something just anyone can do. It has talent, that much is quite clear. You might even say she is beloved by the god of music. Even without light, I live perfectly happy in my world of sound. That is a talent, as you say, then I think the God's responsible. What about your PR motto? PR motto. Perhaps your music remind him of the Virginia scenery? No, it was quite the opposite. The opposite? According to my producer, my music has a certain global quality. Global? Multicultural, if you will. Hard to pin to one region. When people listen to it, they picture the country closest to their heart. Which is why my music has reached so many. What a lovely story! Sounds like the producer might have known what he was doing after all. My songs are nothing more than a white candle. To me, the real landscape painters are the listeners. When I think of that, I do not mind how I am represented to the world so much. Yet, one thing quickly led to another. Was that to protect your image as the landscape painter and sound? That does not matter so much to me, really. But the label is quite concerned about it, I think. A landscaper painter who can't see. That's like a pianist who can't play, huh? I'm not sure you can compare your father to Lemuel. The world of commercial music is filled with these little white lies. Nothing is sacred when it comes to publicity. Nothing is nothing sacred anymore. Is forever just another word. You know that song, Di? Meatloaf is nothing sacred. When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Latouche? Of course, he was my manager. So he knew, and that's what's been bugging me. Something the matter, Mr. Justice? I believe I know what is bothering our young defense attorney. You're thinking of when you discovered the body, yes? Is he right, Apollo? Yes, I was. He's alive. Mr. Latus, can you hear me? You're cold? Don't worry. You're going to be fine. Help is on the way. Hang in there, Mr. Latus. Tell me, who is the witness? So what is he saying? Before I continue further, what do you think he was saying? Because clearly he wasn't stating that he can't see. Because he's looking right up at Apollo. So he said witness can't see. He clearly is looking at Apollo. He says witness can't see. That's what he means. Mr. Latus told me to ask the witness. He named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind. I don't know. What did I say? You need to learn to think for yourself. Meaning what? There's no mystery here, if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more. The witness. Siren? We've heard that many times, along with a little play acting by our defense. I remember them well myself, but that statement is not to what I refer. I mean, what he said before that. Before? What came before that? Ah! That's right. He tried to tell you. When he said can't see, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness. I see. Too bad the defense did not. Well, Fred, try relaxing and looking at the facts first next time. Sucklet. Order, order, order! Recall Lemuroy's earlier testimony. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But she couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that. That is not the most important point here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Latus witnessed her through the window. Why else would he have named her as the witness? I don't think that's the window they're referring to here, but... But I really did hear them! 2 gunshots! And the man's voice! Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We have already run a situation, of course. But it was so clear! If I heard that voice again, I would know it in an instant. Your Honor, what is it, Bela? Can't you see we're in a session here? We have the results back from the investigation. Investigation? Ah, the Interpol number that Mr. Latus left us. Well, let's hear it. We will continue this cross-examination afterward. Detective Crescent, your report, please. I asked Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find Their answer intriguing. But work as always, Darren. Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent? XPXX314206. The agent registered under that number was Romain Latouche. What? Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Latouche himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation. So when he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity. A cautious killer tried to wipe them away. Mr. Latouche was an undercover Interpol agent? So him being Lemier's manager was just a cover, most likely. One other important detail I found. Well, up with it. It concerns a .45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently it belonged to Romain Latouche. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms. The registration number on the revolver matched. So the victim was killed with his own weapon, which makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent with such a large revolver. So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything. Got to tie in somehow, you think. Yeah, somehow. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescend. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Wait! Lemieux? Is something the matter? That voice just now. Darren? Mr. Darren, is it? It was him. I'm sure of it. It was him? You aren't saying. That voice I heard, talking to Mr. Latouche when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darren. Is this some kind of a joke? What? No way! The courtroom fell into such a chaotic state, the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I'd never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get an accusation like that one. Lemieux fingering Darren Crescend. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice Lemieux heard? Things are changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it. Hey, no whipping out now, Apollo. Oh, that was some cliffhanger, wouldn't you say, Di? So, what do you have to say? You don't have any. Well, let's see. Looks like Darren Crescend may end up being a suspect. And being that her her hearing is going to be a lot sharper. She's not going to forget voices. He's sleeping. Sleeping. Okay. All right. The week. We're all done with apologetics for the week. Or continue it next week. What's our outlook for the week? Tomorrow, it's gonna be a collaboration with Jack of Hearts, Andy, possibly you, Tara. It's planned for Fast Food Simulator. It may change, but I know it's not going to be Grocery Store Simulator. Better Mart was also another one. Seeing the specs for fast food simulators, it should work. There should be no reason why it doesn't work. Because the expected processor is weaker than a Ryzen 3. If the game does not work on your PC at all, then there's something wrong with the Ryzen 3. The graphics card, there is no need to worry about the graphics card because it is the lowest recommended graphics card required for it. It's even minimum was said 1050 Ti. So, and your 1660 Super is way stronger than 1050 Ti. So you're beyond requirements for a fast food simulator. Same with Better Mart. Better Mart's also another one that was suggested. That one should also work on your computer because the processor is also lower than your processor as well. So, but that's tomorrow. It says Fast Food Simulator on YouTube. I will likely change it if it's not. Wednesday we're going back to .hack. Still have a little bit of grinding to do because we got to get the characters to 99. We're still in that last area where if I don't use the data drain, I can't defeat them because they won't let me defeat them. Because the weapon I'm using isn't at the strongest. so I have to keep leveling up to max. Thursday, we stated this before, there isn't going to be a Sims 2. Tara did state that last week that this Friday would be the season finale to The Sims 3. Now, the reason why that is because we're at the last week of bye weeks for the PFL. So this is going to be the last week for bye weeks, which means we're going back to 16 games. And we plan on doing 5 games Thursday and Friday, and 3 games Saturday and Sunday. Okay? Which means when you do their records, you'll have more teams to do on Thursday and Friday. That's going to be a problem. Because normally we do 4, which is 8 teams. Adding an additional game adds 2 more, which is 10 teams. Okay? So 10 teams on Thursday, 10 teams on Friday, and then you have 6 teams on Saturday and 6 teams on Friday, which is going to be 32 teams. And then we start back on Monday. After the stream, you got some work that you got to do. Make sure you don't forget the awards. You can talk to Phoenix and let him help you, because I'm going to be working on renaming players after you get done. So if you want Phoenix to come and help you, ask him. Apparently he got upset that we may require his help for next season if I am not getting any more people. But you can go ahead and ask him, and he'll probably help out. So what you let him know what he has to do, so he can do it. Okay. He won't have to use GIMP or anything. Just tell him, don't have to worry about GIMP. You just have to take the screenshots and you have to post it in the Fantasy Football League channel, because we're doing yearly awards, and then we're doing the Pro Bowl nomination, which is All-Star Game. So that's what we're doing. You also have emails that you have to do as well. If you stick to just the awards, yes, emails today. If you stick to the awards and the Pro Bowl, you can have him do emails and newspapers. Okay? Because he probably will get confused when doing the awards and the All-Star Game. He probably won't know what to do. But no, he's done emails. He's did newspapers. So those are the things that he can work on. And then he can post it in their individual channels. Would that make it easier on you? Let me know. Is that going to be easier? You don't know? We'll figure it out, okay? We'll figure it out. Because then you'll have him do emails, and then you can do the awards, and you can do the Pro Bowl, which shouldn't take nearly as much time. Because remember, you were doing 32 teams with the emails, and they all have 5 messages. When you're doing the awards, you do them individually to do the individual awards. Then you have to do league and then conference. It should be less compared to the number of emails. But then he's probably going to say that you'll have to help him with newspapers tomorrow. Yes. The other option is today, do the awards and then the All-Star game. Today, one person does the awards, one person does the All-Star game. The All-Star game is going to be a lot easier than posting the awards. And then tomorrow, the emails and newspaper. So it's up to you. Because I think it's going to be easier if you do the award and the All-Star game one day, emails and newspaper the next day. No, do the awards and the All-Star game tonight, and do the emails and newspapers tomorrow. Yes, both emails and newspapers tomorrow. That way, you get to do the emails, he does newspapers. Today, you do the awards, he does the All-Star game. Well, you won't have to do the newspapers. He can do the newspapers. You can do the emails. And if you do the awards, he does the Pro Bowl nominations. You guys are dividing it between the two. Still have to post them in chat. You don't trust him on Parsec, do you? Not really? I still don't have the girls added to the Parsec either. It'll take longer. We'll figure something out. Are you finally awake? Are you finally awake? I know somebody you can probably ask if they're not busy. Well, she would have to give me her Parsec username. You gotta remember something. I have Ruby that's on Parsec. I also have Tom that's on Parsec as well. We haven't asked Tom to come and help us in months. And for Ruby, you're about the only one that'll probably be able to convince him to help you. True. You're right. We'll talk about this on the Discord stream, because I also have work I gotta do too. Because I'm doing all the player names. That's a lot of work. You want to help me with that, Di? No. I had to help you last week. I could give you one team. Okay. Well, it's going to be it for me for tonight, guys. You guys all have a wonderful night. Take care.